horizontal training of the branches leads to stimulating more bud development along the branch. Hello, beautiful subscribers. It's April 6th here, southeastern Pennsylvania, zone 7A. And today we're going to be looking at a bunch of different fruit trees. And I'm going to be showing you how I train the branches on different age trees and how I go about building the tree's structure. All right, I can't take it any longer. Every day on Facebook, on the Facebook fruit forums, all you see is people bought a brand new young fruit tree and then they ask, where do I prune it? Where do I cut it? But I don't believe that that's the first step. So today we're going to be going over training techniques for the branches. All right, so why do we want to grow our branches horizontally? And it's for structural stability, ease of maintenance and harvest, and increased fruit bud development. So here's the brand new Alberta peach that I haven't done anything with yet other than pick the structure I like at the nursery. And in 3 years, this is what I'm hoping it'll look like. And in 10 more years, this is what I'm hoping it'll look like. But this all starts when the tree is young. I believe after you have protected the tree in some way, now it's time to train the branches before we decide what to trim. So most people would come in here with their pruners and they'd be like, oh, open center. And they would cut this whole piece off right here. Well, that branch can easily be trained this direction. And this branch will produce a lot of fruit in 2 years. So the first thing I like to do is come in here and train the branches, which I'm going to show you how I do it. Then I'll grab the clippers. It all starts in the nursery though. We want to pick a tree in the nursery that has the structure we want. And there's lots of different ways to structure your tree, but just have a game plan when you go into it. I like to structure my peaches in an open vase, open center. So when I am in the section of Alberta peaches, that's what I'm looking for, something that has that potential. So I go over this in another video more in depth. It's called Must Watch Before You Buy Fruit Trees. It's from maybe 2 weeks ago. It talks all about buying things in the nursery, so go back and watch that one if you haven't yet. All right, I haven't made any pruning cuts. It's time to start to shape it, and that's what's nice about these fences. I'll come in here like this, and I'll make a cut on the fence, and I'll bend this branch this direction the way I want it. And then I'll come this way. And I'll bend this one. I can probably stick it right through the fence like this. And look, it's 1, 2. And then I'll come in and be like, yeah, look, this one's straight up in the middle. Then I'll come in and make my cut after I've trained the branches. But you never would have known that that was the one that needed to be pruned until you had already bent the branches in the direction you want. Now I still have 2 more to bend, and then I will prune all the branches coming in to the center, blocking sunlight, blocking airflow. I really only need 4 main structural branches on a peach. 1, 2, 3, 4. These lower ones over here, I don't need. right, look how I opened it up. Opened up the center by bending those 4 branches down. Then I'll come in here and like this branch, don't like. This dead branch, I don't like. But very, very minimal pruning. These ones that are growing down low on an angle, I don't like. But definitely do not pick up the pruners until you have trained your branches the way you want them. If you can train the trees while they're young, you don't have to make these big giant cuts. And that is a problem. You could see it's not healing properly. It's eventually gonna rip down the trunk here. So training them when they're young and then keeping an open center by pruning smaller branches throughout their life is much better than trying to come in later in life and make big giant cuts. Here's one of my oldest peach trees. You could see that it's been shaped into an open center. And this is really good for airflow, which is important with stone fruits because peaches get a lot of fungal diseases like peach leaf curl. And when you have an open center like this, the sunlight gets down in there and dries the tree out quicker, and you get airflow, which dries the tree out quicker. It's April 6th today, southeastern Pennsylvania, and it just rained for 4 straight days while the tree's blooming. Not good. You can get blossom rot. So that's one of the reasons why you want to keep this thing open. So we need the sunlight to ripen the peaches. Not only the total number of peaches on the tree, we need the sunlight to ripen more of them. As the sun's coming like this, everything on this side of the tree over here is not going to ripen unless you can get the sun down in through the open vase. So more peaches need to be ripened, and the individual peach itself needs to be ripened. And I'll go over that in a later video when it comes to thinning the fruit. That's why it's important to thin the fruit on the underneath of the branch, because it's never going to get sunlight and it's not going to ripen evenly. Okay, so I just planted the Seckel pear, and now it's time to start training the branches. And we want to do this before we prune. I always see everybody on Facebook saying, where do I prune the tree and what should I cut off? But first, we want to bend all these branches down and start the shape of the tree and see what it looks like after we bend it all down before we go in and make cuts. I don't even see any cuts I'm going to make on here right now. I mean, maybe there will be after I bend some down. We're going to do a before and after. You could see all the branches of the Seckel pear, which is normal for European pear or even Asian. They want to grow straight up. So we're going to use wire and hose and these little branch benders, and there's all sorts of other ways to do this. And we are going to start training these branches horizontally. And the earlier we do this in the tree's life, the better. All right, before I can actually start pulling down some of these branches, I need to secure the tree itself from moving, because I just planted it. I like to use a hose, old garden hose, and then run the wire through it. And this is to protect the tree from the wire rubbing into it. So we'll get around it like that. And then I'll go to one of these posts. As you can see, all the branches are being trained down horizontally, which lets in more sunlight, and the trees tend to produce fruiting spurs faster on horizontal branches. But I'll leave these on for maybe 1 year or less, 1 season. Take them off at the end of this season, and you'll know because the branch will just be stuck that way. You take them off and it won't move, and it will have grown in this position, and it'll stay in that position for the rest of its life. Besides, the new growth will always want to shoot up, and then you just bend that back down again. Look at these older Kiefer pear branches that I trained horizontally when they were younger. And look now, this doesn't have a wire or a brace, no tie, and it is growing horizontally on its own. The branch will stay like that after it hardens off. This one here no longer needs the brace. Watch. And it'll stay like that for the rest of its life. It'll reach a little bit for the sun, but for the most part, by bending it right here and pulling it down, you have trained it this way forever. And look how many spurs are on these horizontal branches. Here's a Bartlett pear. This is another very easy way for you guys to train your branches. Piece of string with some sort of weight, a water bottle with different amounts of water on it works well. Just make sure that you don't tie the string around the tree and choke it out. This needs to be loose. But look, this is a very easy way. If you don't have the fence around it, you don't want to add stakes, you don't want to add wire, this is another way that you guys can get these branches horizontal. Here's a Hachia persimmons with an example of a modified central leader. Like I said, there's 3 general ways to shape your tree. Open center for the stone fruits, central leader for your pome fruits, your pears, and your apples. And then Asian persimmons, which is one of my favorite fruit to grow, they tend to start as a central leader and then modify. So I didn't really do this on my own. The tree did it on its own. Main center leader, and then it branches and branches and branches. All right, so we're looking at a Gold Rush apple here, and horizontal training of the branches leads to stimulating more bud development along the branch. You get more exposure to sunlight. You see that? I'm using this wire and green old garden hose. That's just to protect the branch from the wire, to hold this down horizontally. And you can see the buds. These are all flower buds about to bloom. It also leads to a stronger crotch in here. This angle, this branch angle, is very important. And if you are, 60, 70, 80 degree angle in here, it'll be much stronger and be able to hold significantly more weight than if your branch angle was, say, 25, 30% or degrees. It's just gonna let in a lot more sunlight to this canopy. Can you imagine if this thing was straight up? Because these apples, these branches want to grow straight up. the more we can bring them down and bend them down. As you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wires training this young gold rush into the structure I want it. Okay, usually you only have to leave these training devices on for 1 season. So let's see. I put these on last year. Let's see if this branch has hardened off, because ideally we're going to take it off and move it to a different branch, and it should stay in the same position it was. So the whole goal is not to, to take them off, move them to the next one, not leave these on their entire life. See, look. It stayed. I mean, it's gonna want to still reach for the sun, but you can come over here and bend this down. But look at this branch angle. And this is off, and now I can use this again if I want over here and pull this back down. And the process goes on. But eventually, as the tree gets really old, like the one behind it, I don't have any, training tools on it. And you can see that I've bent these branches horizontally since the very beginning. I mean, look how horizontal that one branch is. Lots of sunlight, bud development. This is a gala apple. Here is a Crimson Crisp, and I have been using these training devices. I don't like them as much. I have another one that I'll show you, but you can see how this branch wants to grow on a bad crotch angle. We can come in here and bend this down using this training device. And we can change the angle that the branch is growing on. And sometimes they're a little goofy. That's why I'm going to show you a different one in a minute. But you don't want to leave these on there for too long. Right now I have 1, 2, 3 on here. This one's starting to grow into the Crimson Crisp, so it's time to come off. Look at this one. Let's see. Look at that. Just awesome. So easy. No wire, no hose. Leave that on for about 1 season and half a season maybe, and this thing will be stuck like that. Look at the difference. Straight up. Bend it. So this is a young, well, not a young apple tree, but it's new to the orchard. I bought it, and it's a wine sap apple, and I like to grow my apples in a central leader with horizontal branches coming out. And the person at the nursery already has given me a great start. So like I said earlier, we want to pick trees at the nursery that give us the best start. I don't want to pick an apple that's shaped in an open vase if I want to grow it central leader. So this has already helped me. So I got the tree, and now there's very little to do here. There's this lower branch I don't like that I'm going to prune off. There's a little bit of wire training that I'm going to do. But I like to grow apples in a central leader because I believe if you cut the main leader out of an apple tree when it's young, it changes the hormones in the tree and takes much longer to produce flower buds. So this is also great structural integrity. Look at these branch angles. These are going to hold a lot of fruit on them. It's also going to be easy to harvest and maintain. Okay, here's a good shot of a Granny Smith. You can see how I've been training the branches horizontally. I have this little trainer spacer up here. Look at this. But this branch angle is not good. Remember what I was saying? This is structurally not a good branch angle, so I need to make a decision here. I either try and bend this down more, you see what I'm doing to the angle of this branch, which I think I will be able to do with wire, or you have to take it off. This is not what we want, any tight crotch like that. So hopefully, yeah, I think I'll be able to. I'll be able to bend this down with wire, and you see the difference? This is a Rosyanka persimmons. It's a hybrid. It's got American persimmons and Asian persimmons. But they want to grow straight up. This tree wants to get giant. Here is an example of bad crotch angles. So you can either take this out, because these ones are already growing more horizontally. These will be easier to train than trying to pull. Look, I'm trying to pull this entire thing down. But this, we do not want this in almost any type of fruit tree. Bad crotch angles, we won't be able to hold any weight. But American persimmons, like the Proc or a Meter, or even the hybrids, the Rosyanka, Nikita's Gift, they're gonna wanna grow a central leader, and they're gonna wanna get really big. All right, these are awesome. These are 3 different branch training devices, small, medium, and large. And they're very simple. This hose is obviously not doing it, keeps slipping down. But we really want this branch to grow on a much more horizontally. So let's see if we can get and I don't like it. I still don't like this crotch. Even after doing that, so it's like I have to make a decision here. I'm probably gonna take this branch off. So I don't need 2 main central leaders here, or 3 really. I'm better off taking these 2 off, leaving 1, and growing these other ones horizontally. One problem you're gonna run into is when you buy your trees online. So I couldn't find a Bosque pear at any of my local nurseries. I wanted a Bosque pear, and I ordered it online, and it came open center. I mean, this tree is set up for open center. There is no main leader anymore, but it's a palm fruit, a European pear, and I like to grow my European pears in a central leader. So I have a decision to make. I either keep it open vase for the rest of its life, and it'll probably do fine, or I decide maybe it's this one or this one to let it grow a new central leader. So a lot of times you're going to have to decide between the 3 different main structures: central leader, open vase, and modified central leader, based off what you're dealing with, what you're given, or what you chose at the nursery to begin with. All right, long story short, have a plan when you're buying your tree. Have one of those structures thought out ahead of time. And then train those branches horizontally. Horizontally leads to more fruit, easier harvest, better structural integrity. So, like always, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.